Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. You get to see our wonderful faces tonight. And you know why I get to see our wonderful faces tonight? Because Alabama has taken down Georgia 24-21. There are certainties in life, ladies and gentlemen. Death, taxes, and Alabama beating Georgia. And we did it again. They're eating the dogs. All right, before we get out of control, I want you to do a few things for me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, live chat. I need you celebrating with us tonight. Get rowdy. Also, if you're watching the replay, get in the comment section down below. Let us know what you think. We always love to hear from the many fans who make this network go. I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me is my all-star panel here, late night, tied after dark, if you will. The illustrious king of the strip, whose anxiety was way up today because being a double agent takes a lot of courage and has a lot of weight to carry. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Pettey.
Let's fucking go. What a day of football, man. That was I was skeptical going into today with this double dipper, and to get the double win, man, and just the cherry on top though was I wanted to see some stuff. We'll get into it, man. Can't be more proud of this Alabama football program for going over to Athens and answering every damn question. And now look, I know we'll talk some stuff, but you can't look. That's Alabama football right there. Don't ever doubt Crimson Tide. Don't ever doubt Alabama. That's all I got to say. Don't ever doubt Alabama. And if you do, you're doing it at your own peril.
Absolutely. But last but not least, he is the king of recruiting. He is at every high school, and he's also in the parents' homes of every recruit there is. He's having Sunday dinner with grandmothers. The illustrious Johnathan Lewis. Welcome in, sir.
What's going on, fellas? Everybody in the comment section already getting it popping. Thank you, Daniel Denny, for the $1.99 super chat already. Guys, I don't know. I can't think of a better weekend of college football in my mind. Auburn losing, us beating Georgia, Ole Miss beating LSU, who I've been claiming is overhyped, and Nussmeier's average at best. Guys, this is one hell of a weekend. The only thing that could top this off is, does Oregon trump Penn State in overtime? Because I've had a chance to check on that lately.
Yes, they did.
There we go. My day is complete.
Wow,
My day is fully complete.
The only one I got wrong, I actually predicted the Fighting Cowbells there in Starkville to take down Tennessee. They nearly did.
Almost.
But they fell short. But, hey, you got to love the effort, though, because no one going into the season would have ever predicted that. We're not here to talk about Mississippi State or anybody else. We're here to talk about Alabama. Folks, we had a lot of doubt going into this game, like Pettey wonderfully alluded to, and rightfully so, right? Against Florida State. We heard the criticisms coming from that game because we got our asses handed to us, even though all season Thomas Castellanos told us what he was going to do to us, said we could do nothing to stop it. Coach Saban couldn't save you guys, and we proved him right. So we began to question the toughness and the resolve of this team.
Absolutely.
And just as Tyler Siskey predicted, the following week, Alabama was going to look like war daddies against Louisiana Monroe and against Wisconsin. The biggest question was, what happens when Georgia hits Alabama in the mouth in Athens? And Pettey, Johnathan, I think we found out that answer resoundingly. And my gosh, they hit and hit and hit, but we kept on getting off the mat. It was like watching a Rocky movie, but it was played out on the field at Athens, Georgia. We got a lot to talk about, but what I need from you guys is your instant reaction. Start us out, Pettey, and then Johnathan will go after you.
Oh man, instant reaction is I doubted. I mean, and I'm not alone. I have friends that look. We've watched a lot of Alabama football together, and we all had questions going into this. Like, man, I want to see how this team responds. I want to see what our linebackers do. I want to see we're gonna get punched in the mouth tonight. And all I saw was the team in crimson start throwing punches out of the gate, and Georgia was the one who had to respond to the punches. That was what got me. Bama didn't have to respond to getting hit. Georgia had to respond to getting hit, and they didn't do it. That's my instant reaction is, again, I said it before, count out Alabama football at your own peril. I started to doubt. We all started to doubt. We didn't get that. You said it. It was hard to get Florida State out of our memory. Then you watch Florida State struggle at Virginia, like, damn, this football season weird. What is going on? But it doesn't matter, man. Like you said, Bama plays Georgia, death taxes, and beating those damn Bulldogs. Georgia hasn't lost at home since before COVID, people. And Bama just went up there and took their souls.
And Johnathan, man, what a game. We're talking back and forth throughout the game, and there were things that were happening that clearly should have taken us out, right? We lose James Smith. we lose key players that really could have determined the outcome of the game. Also, we were making stupid mistakes that ultimately led to Georgia points. We had Kane Womack, who just had a complete blip in his mind and called the wrong defense, which left Kobe Young running free, leads to a touchdown. And then later on, we shut down Georgia on a 4th down. But hey, no, but wait, folks, there's more. Xavier Brown is holding. Georgia gets the ball again, fresh set of downs, scores. But that didn't deter Alabama. What's your reactions?
So my instant reaction, Nick Sheridan is not the play caller, folks. We have officially entered into the Ryan Grubb era that looks like something we've actually been holding back now for the past 3 games. What I'm talking about is, did you see the amount of motion? Did you see the amount of – look, it was pretty much an empty set. It felt like every down. It felt that way. And then he would either call the running back over, whatever that may look like. Ty Simpson proved to me one thing. This man knows this offense really damn well. He knows the hot routes. He can call the audibles. He can change the protections. Folks, call it what you want. No, we're not going to have that conversation on here. Ty Simpson's a game changer, plain and simple. And if you don't have his name in that Heisman conversation at this point, I don't know what to tell you.
Without question. And one of the most impressive things is the cool, calm demeanor of Ty Simpson from the get-go. He didn't play out of whack, out of sorts. He had an entire stadium of Bulldog Nation just roaring at him. He had every reason to go back into that shell that we saw against Florida State. That was my question. Was Kirby going to be able to bring that defense to revert to him back to what we saw against Florida State? The answer is no. He came in there like that was a home game, and he played with ease. I know that we didn't score a touchdown in the second half. He was never rattled even then, even though we weren't scoring points. He was directing players, directing traffic. He was in control of that entire game. And when things looked bad, what was he doing? He was in the face of everyone, players, coaches, coordinators, what have you. That's what you wanted to see. And also, an extension to that, guys, we didn't see a dead sideline. That's something that's been missing when Alabama's been on the road here the past couple of seasons. That sideline was hype. Of course, having Tim Keenan back was a huge factor, and
definitely
great game tonight. But from him, he didn't play all the snaps. He was rotated in, but when he was there, you could tell the impact that was felt because he was there. So, yeah, a lot of good here, but we're going to talk about the whole scope.
Real leadership, man. That's what it is. Like, we saw a lot of fake leadership the last couple of years. Now we're like rah-rah horse shit. Now we're seeing real leadership.
Guys,
when your quarterback's going and getting on the special teams before the next play, I mean, yeah, we're seeing a guy who has absolute control of this program right now, Ty Simpson.
This is only Ty's 4th game starting. Mm-hmm. He's only going to get better. We're seeing him make more checks every game, more audibles every game. The truck, all I'm going to say is this team's going to get better throughout the year offensively. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, absolutely. And I made a mistake. I said, I go back and find that. I said Ty Simpson would be a top 5 quarterback before the end of this SEC season ends. I guess I was wrong because as of right now in SEC play, I'd argue me a better quarterback in the league.
I can't. In my opinion.
I can't either.
Not one.
Not one right now.
No.
And we also got to address the fact that in the first half, Ryan Williams drops a ball, easy catch for a touchdown. It seems like he can't shake the drops. And he kind of went into a funk for a long time. But then late in the game, I got to give him props. I know I've been very critical of the young man. But when we needed him the most, he wasn't getting big plays. He wasn't doing anything to take the top off the defense. He was catching the ball, and he went to extend drives. He was making himself – he was being selfless. That's what I'm trying to say. He was being selfless, even though he was facing being hit. And one of those plays, he got absolutely just dropped and popped right back up, and first down. That he grew up a little bit tonight. I was excited to see him do that. That I feel like that's been missing.
I'm actually going to push back on that. I think this game solidified Ryan Williams is not the number one receiver.
Well, I'm not saying he's number one receiver at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, to me, I'll give him props for sure. He caught the ball on basically an orbital motion. You know what I mean? To me, the lack of route running, to me, is killing me, man. It's killing me. He cannot fight through traffic when he runs routes. He's great at the go route. He's great when he gets past 20 yards. Right. It's when you need him to create his own little thing to get open, it struggles. But that's why you have Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton, in my opinion. So, and I think that's what Ryan Williams needs. We need to stop. Because I do it too. We need to stop propping Ryan Williams up to where he's just the number one receiver and he can't be touched and all this. He's still a guy learning to develop himself into the wide receiver position. And at the end of the day, I think we're being too hard on him and expecting too much.
Yeah, I agree.
He didn't catch it. Well, or we could accept he is what he is. He's a big playmaker that has questionable hands. There's a lot of football players like that make great plays, acrobatic plays, the stuff that makes your jaw drop and then drops the easy one. I just resign myself to the fact that's what we get out of Ryan. He's going to make a play during the game that makes my jaw drop, and then he's going to drop one. And I'm like, damn it, catch the damn ball. I mean, it just, is what it is. But that's what you said. That what helps that out is when you got Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton, all those guys, who didn't drop a pass tonight. That young man, Latsier Brooks, boy, he looked great on his several possessions. So, look, I love Ryan. He's a big play. He's going to make jaw-dropping stuff, but just got to accept that he is what he is, too,
It's like a Jekyll Hyde. You really don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And thankfully tonight, late in the game, when we needed some catches, he made them. But like you said, Jeremy Bernard, undisputed number one receiver on this team, if not the country. Then you have Isaiah Horton, arguably the number two. And I still think that you could probably put Latsier Brooks ahead of Ryan Williams just simply from effort.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that later on. But, yeah, that's just going to be towards the end because that's going to turn into a negative thing because at the beginning of the game, his lack of effort for blocking to me was abysmal, just completely I don't know what to say. I'm hoping the team calls him out on it.
Well, actually, guys, you know what? I was wrong. Arguably the best wide receiver in this offense is Caden Proctor, without question.
Caden got moves, man.
I mean, dude's got wheels. Shifty. I mean, you ain't bringing him down with one guy, right? How ballsy of a call was that by Ryan Grubb today? Not expecting it at all, but my gosh, sometimes you need that little spark. Sometimes you need to kind of take a risk and be creative, and you can't get much more creative than that. Thoughts, guys?
I've already said it. Ryan Grubb is to me, he's making this offense move with Ty Simpson.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and we talked about this before the game, Bama's run game, right? That was one of our pre-game talks on Tuesday, or what my question was, does Bama have to establish a run? And what the play calling Grubb dialed up tonight when things aren't, you do have to get a little, you got to dig in, and he showed his chops tonight and dialing stuff up when you can't necessarily depend on the run. And unfortunately, that again, I'm gonna say this a lot tonight, is what it is. But when the other stuff works, it works, and it was working. So go with what works. And no, Grubb was taking the pressure off the run game tonight, and then taking pressure off Ty with that kind of stuff. Man, I thought it was the game plan out of Grubb tonight was what everybody's been waiting on.
Real quick before we continue to run our mouse, we're streaming on other social media. I encourage everyone who's watching other channels like Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, please come over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the like button to this video if you're already there on YouTube. Hey, big shout out to everybody who's a part of this network. We're over 15,000 subscribers. Couldn't do it without any of you. Exciting stuff. Another thing, I have a question. Guys, why do we continue to see musical chairs when it comes to the offensive line? We've talked about it a few times leading up to this game, and I thought going in, we really needed to have that established concrete lineup and stick with that. But call me crazy, I think it's actually working to our favor. Any ideas as to why Grubb, not just Grubb, but Kalen DeBoer continues to rotate offensive linemen?
Pettey.
I was wondering where you were going with that, because I was about to say tonight, the offensive line, man, that was outside of Ty Simpson. The most impressive thing to me tonight was the offensive line. They got pushed all damn night. Even though the run game didn't get going, I thought the line did pretty daggum well going against that Georgia defensive front. And it's just because you've got the bodies. You got to have the freshness. I don't know if he's still looking for continuity, or if this is more a thing at this point where we've got, 8 guys he can depend on and keep fresh legs coming in at you. So later in the game, where you haven't rushed it down their throat all night, but on that final drive, there were a few runs where Jam was getting 5-6 yards that were really, really crucial, and that could come from the freshness of the offensive line. So I think it's just more he's building confidence with 8 guys versus 4 outside, of course, of Parker. I'm saying 4. I know there's 5 offensive linemen, folks. I'm not that big, but they're not rotating Parker. But that's why, because there's confidence. There's confidence growing. This offensive line's got some depth. It's going to be a real damn strength going forward.
I think you're onto something there, Pettey. Johnathan, do you share in what he's saying that essentially we have a starting line A, starting line B, and it's more so being used just to wear down the front 7 of opponents, to where you're constantly going to have fresh guys in, whereas they're going to have guys who are gassed, who are going to be tired, and who are struggling?
I think it's very situational. And this is, you got to remember, what did Ryan Grubb specifically teach before he became offensive coordinator?
Offensive line
coach. So he understands not only how his offense works, obviously with Kalen DeBoer, he understands what the offensive line needs to look like for this offense to operate. So no, absolutely, you're definitely on that, Pettey. Like, for certain plays to work, look, plain and simple, the offensive line looked way better, in my opinion, tonight. Go look at the sack numbers if you want any proof of that, or how much time Ty Simpson had. When Ty has time to sit in the pocket for like 2.5 to 3 seconds, that man is unstoppable and he will carve you up. Yeah. And he does have his playmaking ability of getting out, running and stuff like that. But as far as him sitting in the pocket and being able to identify what the defense is doing, making the hot routes, making the adjustments, making protection calls, by the way, changing the protection, all that good stuff, he's almost unstoppable at that point. And I feel like for sure, Pettey, you're definitely onto something with that. I think it's just situational. I think some of them are better than others at what they got to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's mosey on to our next topic. And I think we got a lot to actually contribute to this. Positives and negatives of the game. I'll go with the most obvious positives was Ty Simpson. There's no need to really go into much more depth. The guy was a savant tonight. Played with tremendous poise. Played with tremendous confidence. He was the catalyst to Alabama's success tonight. In the offensive line, again, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did offensively without a strong showing from that offensive line, A and B. Negatives, and I hope I'm not taking this from anyone else, but if I have, please go ahead and piggyback. But there's 1A, our inability to run the ball. We still had just over 100 yards, and then our inability to stop the ball. Let me go ahead and grab what Georgia was able to do rushing. Georgia had 227 yards rushing tonight. I get it, guys. We won. We should celebrate. We should sing to the heavens But the fact is, Alabama still cannot solve the equation of stopping the run. We were gashed, and there were a lot of plays where we knew it was coming. It wasn't anything that was just mind-blowingly.
He just muted himself. All right, so yeah, Pettey, you want to take it while he figures that out?
Yeah, I guess he was talking about the run game just not being overwhelming. I know people are upset with.
Go ahead.
Go there. You go. If you hit some magic button.
Go ahead, Pettey. Pick up where you left off.
Man, you were on a heater. You can finish your thought. I wasn't really getting far into it.
No, like I said, there wasn't anything innovative that Georgia was throwing at us. They just dared us to stop it, and we couldn't. He still had Justin Jefferson not being where he was supposed to be or going half-ass and getting pushed out of the play. He's still tiptoeing to ball carriers and not coming hard. Deontay Lawson played a better game tonight, but Justin Jefferson is the same old thing week after week. But go ahead, Pettey.
Oh, no, if I'm a Georgia fan right now, I'm kind of pissed off at that. I mean, no, you said Georgia didn't do anything innovative. No, they haven't. Bobo doesn't do anything innovative. He's going to run that power game right at you. And there's times where it looked like Georgia kind of taking advantage. A lot of times, every time they went to the perimeter, Bama's linebackers were struggling to get out there to it. But then Georgia goes straight back up the middle. You know, let's be real. There's a drop touchdown pass from Georgia, and this game's a whole different story late in the ball game. And Georgia did a lot of, Bobo, he made it easy on our defensive coordinator tonight. I will say that, because no, Georgia's offense isn't anything magical. It's a very vanilla blue plate special type of shit. But if we're going to do that, we should be celebrating a win. I'll be honest. I didn't expect to go to Athens one night. It's hard to start getting critical, but there are things to be critical about. If Georgia's not a 1995 offense, we'd have been in trouble tonight, because it seemed like every time their running backs got to the outside, we were chasing. So the linebacking play has to get better. It's still really. If the linebacking play is good tonight, this wasn't even a game. This was a blowout. Because Georgia doesn't move the ball at all.
So I will push back a little bit, because I love looking at things from both sides. We already kind of know how I operate. I look at this. Alabama came in with a game plan. We already know Kane Womack takes chances on that defense as far as when he blitzes and stuff like that. He took a huge risk on that second down, which is, by the way, second short. Usually, if you go look at the trend, Georgia does not throw on that down. So what does he do? Cover zero, all out blitz, leaving Damani Jackson on the island by himself with no help over the top outside of Keon Sabb, opposite side hash, right? We're talking about deep, where basically he has no help. And he got caught up in that moment, because if you go watch the play, that was a run play that Georgia typically runs. What does Gunnar Stockton do? He walks up to the line. He basically made the adjustment. He knew he had one-on-one with no help over the top. He throws it. Should have been a touchdown. Outside of that, I felt like Kane Womack said, we're going to keep everything in front of us. We will let you run a little bit, because we're keeping two deep safeties most of the time here. And we'll just make sure you're not going to gash us to the point to where you're just blowing us out 80-yard runs for a touchdown. But we're going to keep everything in front of us at the same time and let Ty cook and do his thing and let him beat you versus letting you throw on us. Because Gunnar Stockton beat Tennessee by throwing, right? At the end of the day, what happened was they made the adjustment. Well, Kane Womack did not allow that adjustment to happen, is essentially what happened in this game. So, no, I think it was pretty impressive on what happened. Now, can our run defense get better? Obviously, guys.
We got to. Next week.
But there was times in this game where those run fits looked really well. When we stopped them on fourth down, like right at the 4-yard line or whatever, I was like, okay, this is starting to work a little bit, right? So, and of course, losing James Smith, of course, losing Quay Russo, in my opinion, your two best pass rushers in this game is going to hurt you. So, no doubt. I'll just leave it at that.
I think another positive you can take away, guys, we didn't beat ourselves in penalties tonight. We only had 4 penalties the entire game. Nothing costly. Now, it's funny. Like I said, we did things mentally that could have easily taken us out of the game. They led to points. But you also got to, on the same side, call out Georgia for doing dumb things that took them out of the game, like jumping in the pile towards the end of the game.
Woo.
Should have been targeting.
Should have been targeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was on both sides, and it kind of evened out. All right, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if you had any more positives and negatives of what we're doing as far as this goes. Mine, I put, let's see here. What do we not talk about? Bray Hubbard.
Bray Hubbard. I was about to say, let's throw Bray in there.
Because at the end of the day, I criticized that dude harshly after that Florida State game when you saw him jogging around and not putting in effort, not putting a hat on anybody. I mean, for the past 3 weeks, is there a guy that hasn't proved himself more on that defense than Bray Hubbard?
I think he led the team in tackles tonight. Had a forced fumble. Didn't he lead the team tonight?
Let me look. I do believe if he didn't lead, he was pretty close.
Well, and that's again, you can look at the stats, but I saw a defense that was hitting people. That's what I wanted to see. I told Justin this, and I even repented as a Bama fan somewhat, or as a Bama blood. Like, man, even in a loss, if this team shows fight, I might be okay with it, which is the most un-Alabama line on planet Earth, especially after the Saban era. But I guess that's where I kind of was after the Florida State game. Like, well, Georgia's going to freaking punch. If we at least punch back, even if something happens, we lose by a field goal, I think I may be okay with it. And I wanted to wash my mouth out with soap after thinking and saying like that. But that wasn't – no, man, those kids were hitting tonight. I thought the punch was brought to Georgia versus waiting on the punch.
While we're still on positives and negatives, I see a comment here from Bama Boy 22. 0 points in the second half. Yeah, I get it. It wasn't really sexy in terms of points being scored in the second half, but a positive was, although we weren't scoring points, we were also taking a lot of time off the clock, and we were keeping Georgia's offense off the field. We would have loved to have had some extra points put on the board to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. But, hey, you kept Georgia's offense off the field, and that to me is a big victory.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, and I'm not trying to be negative Nancy here. Our tackling has to improve on the defense.
Oh, yeah.
We're all trying to strip every single play. It's getting old at this point now. Like, because there's a lot of times we had a couple guys in the backfield for a loss, but they didn't happen because they're going after the ball and he breaks away and ends up with a 15, 20, 30-yard run. And I'm like, can we just not get back to wrapping up and tackling? But
absolutely. You were right on the head. Hey, folks, I want to remind everyone, hey, you're part of the show. We're going to have a question and answer segment towards the end. So let's start asking questions. I'm going to pin them. Before we move to the next topic, we do have a few super chats to get to. So I want to acknowledge the people who are giving freely. Again, thank you, Daniel Denny, an Auburn fan in the chat at $1.99. Thank you for beating Georgia after our shit show.
Hold up, Daniel. You know what winners do in life? They cover spreads. And for 2 weeks in a row, Auburn has covered the spread for this guy.
Absolutely.
So tonight, I salute you, Auburn, as 2 weeks in a row spread covers.
It all comes back to Pettey's parlays and his betting. But yes, Marshall Bean. Hey, brother. Glad to see you. It's been a minute. $10. Greatly appreciate that. Roll Tide. Love y'all boys. Hell of a win. Which defensive player did you like the most? Bray Hubbard.
Bray Hubbard, let's give the defensive line some credit though tonight too. They
Yeah.
were causing some havoc. Stockton didn't have the game he had against Tennessee. I thought that defensive line caused some grief tonight. I was impressed.
Tim Keenan was a big help from
Absolutely.
that, no doubt. Even though he wasn't 100%, you could tell he's not 100%. Him being out there and doing what he had to do, man, he freed up those linebackers a little bit to do what they needed to do. But Kane Womack also, he didn't, in my opinion, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you feel different. I don't think he called a bad game outside of the cover zero on the second down.
Right.
Like cover zero is still a tight game. Like that's a kind of a gamble to be doing that. But losing Quay Russo, man, and losing James Smith, and now you're losing players for the second half of next game. Like that sucks. But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Well, but you also have to give props to the guys who replaced James Smith and Quay Rousseau. Edric Hill came up really big tonight. He was in the backfield a lot. He had a sack, he had tackles for loss, but also I don't know if you noticed, freshman Justin Hill was out there as well.
Yep.
There are a couple of plays where he may have not been as effective as you'd like, but then there were other plays where he matured tonight and he was very effective. So shout out to Edric Hill and shout out to Justin Hill as well.
One more, and I love White Boy Hubbard said it. The whole first half, Yanzea Pierre was living in the backfield.
Yes,
he couldn't get there almost, right? But that dude was wrecking havoc on the offensive line for Georgia, who was playing two freshmen, by the way, on one side.
And let's go with one more positive. A lot of was made about the stat that, the Bama's rush defense, but Bama's pass defense has only given up like 110 yards a game going into this game. And the rhetoric we heard on Tuesday, well, who have they played? Well, Georgia's put up some passing yards and give up 130 tonight. Look, man, say what you will about this defense. Say what you will about Kane Womack. I mean, you're giving up less than 150 yards passing a game. I think the identity is starting to build around the secondary and the fact that, it's not giving up the big play. And you spoke about this earlier, Johnathan. We're keeping everything too deep, keeping it in front. This is turning out to be a damn good secondary and a damn hard team to throw on.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to a few more super chats so that we can get to our next topic. We got Big Bill from New York, $5. What a game. Simpson is the man. Thank you, brother. We greatly appreciate you. Then we're going to go to
conversation now.
Yeah. Jason Haywood, $5. I love the effort this team put in tonight. Still a lot to clean up, but I'm proud of this team, RTR. Actually, yeah, you're right. I mean, we weren't perfect, but sometimes being perfect means just beating Georgia between the hedges.
Got that W. Jeremy
Matthews, $9.99. Stephen A. Smith needs to close his mouth. Bama is still Bama. Well, for now, absolutely. We'll take that tonight.
Yep.
Let's see. We got RB, $2. Greatly appreciate you, RB. And then we've got Anthony Beck, $1.99. Big time win for Alabama. Shout out to my guy, Johnathan.
Anthony Beck, appreciate it, man. If you guys have it already, if you watch anything Florida, SEC, make sure to check out Inside the Swamp. Anthony Beck, one of the best in the business. Him, Ace Wade, those guys down there put together a great show.
Appreciate you, Anthony.
Absolutely. Hey, we got to take a break in all the fun to talk about one of our sponsors, Title Towel. Folks, if you took them to Athens, we greatly appreciate you. If you didn't because you don't have them, well, this is your opportunity to go to whitwillsports.com and grab your Title Towel. Enter the promo code STANDARD. You get a nice discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. Of course, we got Vandy coming to town next Saturday, so stock up. Get your Title Towel today, whitwillsports.com. All right. I know we've already
Are we going to be doing at the Vandy game?
Hold on, man.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, do y'all know if they had did they have the game playing at the local penitentiary where all the rest of Georgia's team was so they could watch that ass beating tonight? Just wanting to know.
Make sure they didn't drive home.
Boy, the cops in Athens are going to be on it tonight. Boy, all the barking people. What a bunch of barking assholes out there. Just bark. I saw a lot of barking in those stands tonight.
As Johnathan already
go in on Georgia and all their barking and their
felonies. As Johnathan already alluded to, we will be at the Paul W. Bryant Museum next Friday night to help preview Alabama versus Vanderbilt. I need y'all to arrive at 6 p.m. at the Paul W. Bryant Museum. I need you to pack the place out. It's our revenge tour for Diego Pavia. And looks like after what I saw today, we have our work cut out for us. But if we come with the same effort that we saw tonight, then we should come away with that sweet revenge on hand. We'll have some former Alabama players to talk about what they've been seeing, but also to help honor their career a little bit. One of which is the big monster from down under, Jesse Williams. Come see him. You will not walk away disappointed. Bama Standard at the Paul W. Bryant Museum. All right, folks, let's talk about our players of the game. And the way we like to do it here, we don't go the Chris James style and go throughout the whole roster. We're going to name one offensive player and one defensive player. Starts out, Pettey, then we'll go to Johnathan, and I'll round it out.
My bad. I'm glad you let me go first because I feel like I'm still in the obvious answer. It was Ty. Ty was spectacular tonight. The way he led not just the offense, but the way he led the team. This is Ty's team. If you're not on the Ty train, I don't know what you're waiting on. The kid is special. I think he may be the best quarterback in the SEC right now. And so Ty Simpson, he went to Athens, all the pressure. And that was one more thing. And the reason we said Ty, it's now time to win the big game. We've seen that you can run the offense and look spectacular. Now can you do what an Alabama quarterback does and win the big game? He did that tonight. That was super special. And I'm going to go with Bray. I'm with Johnathan. I was hard on the kid, but what I saw when he answered to the questions to the media, he didn't blame. He took it on like, yeah, y'all were right. I sucked. I need to get my ass in gear. And since then, that kid has been hell on wheels. So hell of a night, Bray. Hell of a night, Ty.
Hey, Jonathan, real quick, I'm sure you won't mind. Quick shout out to Jay Clay, the mother of Alabama's 5-star committed linebacker, the number one linebacker in the 2026 class. Hey, what's going on, Jay Clay? Roll Tide, roll. Glad to have you here celebrating with us. So, and by the way, if you missed Sharpshooters podcast this past week, you go back to that YouTube channel and check out that show. Fantastic show. Had Miss J, had Xavier on there. Fantastic show. Brinsky and Coach Sean always do a fantastic job over there. All right, so let's get to it. Johnathan, players of the game, one offensive, one defensive.
Sorry, guys, I'm not going for the offensive side. I'm not going with a player. It's got to be Ryan Grubb. The offensive play caller. Like, and I give it one. Look, it's easy to say Ty Simpson because I do believe if you're going to pick a player, he's the obvious choice. If I have to pick a player that's not Ty Simpson, I'm going, in my opinion, Jeremy Bernard, who really helped get, in my opinion, the rhythm started with Ty at the beginning of the game, right? He made a couple key catches, obviously a touchdown, stuff like that to really get the ball rolling. But here's what I love about this, and this is why I'm saying Ryan Grubb, guys. It's because we didn't – I love Coach Sean says this. We didn't get passy. In other words, even though we struggled running the ball, we kept running the ball to keep Georgia's defense disciplined. You know what I mean? They couldn't set back in a nickel or a dime and basically just put 6 defensive backs on the field and kill us that way and force us to run the ball. No, we kept running the ball, and we kept forcing them to stay disciplined. That's why I have to go with him. And I'm so hard-pressed, I can't choose another defense player other than Bray Hubbard. He just impressed me that much that I'm sorry. I don't like picking the same person twice, but that dude had a hell of a game, plain and simple.
Hard to disagree there. For me, offensive player of the game, the entire offensive line.
Great one. I was wanting that. I was hoping someone would say that.
There's no disputing that. Ty, fantastic game. Should be in the Heisman conversation, but he doesn't have that type of night without that offensive line. On the defensive side of the ball, Bray Hubbard, there's no question, but I also got to give a shout-out to our guy, Tim Keenan III. He came in tonight. He wasn't 100%. He didn't play every snap, but when he was there, he was effective. He was in shop, and he was allowing other guys to do what they needed to do to have a positive effect in Georgia's offense and messing things up. So shout-out to Tim Keenan III. Also, a little quick shout-out for Jam Miller. No, he didn't have a spectacular night, right? But he played hard. He ran hard and got what he could. But also, too, if you look in the pass pro, he's still a hell of a pass protector. My gosh. Love what he does. The less glorious things, he's doing them well, even when he's not running the ball. So, shout-out to those guys. All right.
Sorry. I said I had to conclude him because – I'm sorry, I didn't think about him as much, but Kevin Riley also catching out of the backfield, in my opinion. He had some pretty hard runs in the first half as well.
All right, so now let's go to the Q&A segments. Folks, go ahead and let's get them in. If you hadn't already, we'll give you your opportunity to sound off. Let's start out. RK Young got Vandy looking. Can we stay on an even keel? I sure hope so. Jonathan, you want to tackle this one?
This is all about mindset at this point, right? Our biggest downfall last season was we did beat Georgia, then we went into Vandy game and fell completely flat in at Vandy, right? So, and I feel like that's what this is going to be about is can you come down from this high? Because even as a fan, right, that's what this is. I was a fan. The moment that clock hit 0, I'm on a high. I'm tweeting everything. I'm cussing people out, texting people, not literally, but, Georgia fans that I'm friends with. But, you know what I mean? I'm telling them all that business. But at the end of the day, guys, it's about Vandy, by the way, putting up almost 50 points a game. They're undefeated. Second time in like 80 years, they're playing as 5-0 or something like that, undefeated. I don't think this is a game where Pavi and them is going to sneak in. And I feel like there may be a newfound hunger with this Alabama team and kind of finally establishing the identity of we're not the old school Alabama running team anymore. We're fine with that because we have Ty Simpson doing what he needs to do to lead us the way Mac Jones did when he did it.
Big Poppy. I know Marvin made some money tonight. He can take us out to eat.
Yeah. Sure.
You might want to check on him with Charles Grant. That's who he's rolling around with right now.
I'm sure he's trying to get money out of Charles right now.
Oh,
Pettey, I'll let you have this next one. It comes from Nelson. Do y'all think Jam Miller is lacking in elusiveness hurt us at times tonight? It's like he couldn't bounce it out.
I mean, I don't know. You're going to be a little rusty coming back. I mean, Georgia's fast on defense, too. I mean, nobody was bouncing it out, really. I do think Riley provides a little more pop outside doing that. But I don't know if it hurt us. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it hurt us tonight, actually. I actually thought Jam showed a little bit more of a spark than I expected coming off the injury. Especially as a screenplay took for about 15, 20 yards there at one point on the side. I just think that's more credit. Georgia does have a lot of damn speed on the outside.
Yeah, he wasn't really allowed to do a whole lot because as soon as he got the ball, just a pile of Georgia players are converging on him.
And don't forget this either. It's not like he's completely healed, guys. And it was a collarbone issue, which means you can't do what? Turn your head very much.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's going to have that ability to do it a whole lot anyways.
And then also, to real quickly touch back on the 0 points in the second half. And I mean, again, we don't always like to look across the sideline and give credit where credit's due, but Kirby and Georgia are one of the better second half adjustment program coaches in all of football. Go back to the Tennessee game. They were getting their asses kicked. It looked like a completely different game. I mean, that's where – and I get a text from – I've got 27 different text chains going on, but I got one buddy that's real serious about hearing the game. And he texted me, he said, my one fear now is here's what we get to see. Halftime is where Georgia gets you and Kirby makes the adjustments. And we were able to withstand those adjustments. I thought that's something we hadn't touched on that I think is a huge credit to Alabama tonight. You just beat the best in the game at halftime adjustments. And so, you got to give credit. He slowed the offense down, but the offense did enough on the final. It did enough to win the game still without scoring.
Right.
If you were to tell me, sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, Justin. If you were to tell me Alabama doesn't score a point in the second half, I'm saying we may be getting blown out.
Yeah, it's getting ugly.
So,
I was nervous. I'm not going to lie.
I know you were.
All right, D. Pickett. What are they going to say about Ty now?
He's a Heisman contender. He's the best quarterback at Alabama since Bryce Young.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No,
acknowledge him.
The kid's the truth. He's the real damn deal. He waited his turn, and now he's showing why it was worth it. And don't always write a kid's story off because it doesn't go exactly like the fairy tale of a 5-star playing in year 2. The microwave society isn't the reality of life. Ty special.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt about it. This is what you get when you sit on the bench and you learn a system and you learn how to play quarterback, because it's not the fact that he just knows the playbook. He learned how to be a leader. And we saw that in the game. We've already spoke on it, how he was talking not to just the offense, not just the defense, but the special teams too. He's picking up everybody around him. If you make mistakes, he's calling you out. Plain and simple.
Whoa, look, Pettey. Bevo's bodyguard is actually saying something positive about Alabama. This is a rarity, folks. So
that's because they beat him twice last year.
Yeah, he's glad to see Kirby go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to see Kirby lose Bevo's bodyguard, watch a bunch of Bama Georgia games, because that's what Bama does. They take Kirby's ass to the woodshed.
10 out of the last 11.
Joe Edwards, why does the middle open up when they rush the quarterback? The middle was wide open, and Stockton could have ran up the middle instead of throwing downfield.
I mean, I keep saying it. It's the defense we implemented, man. I think this is the first time in a long time that I can say Kane Womack had a plan, and he stuck to the plan, right? So did it adjust so well in the second half? I was getting a little worried, to be honest with you, right? Because, yes, they were gashings for runs, but I think at the same time, when you look at this, the middle would open up a little bit, but at the same time, Hubbard was always in the middle of that field. Him or Deontay Lawson was right there in front of him, right? They weren't too far down the field if you go back and look. So they weren't going to let Gunnar Stockton take off and run to beat us. That was not going to be the game plan. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us running the ball, because that was kind of the Achilles heel of that game, the first half against Tennessee. We just kind of flipped it on its head.
Joe Edwards again. Do y'all think our defense needs to get bigger because they got pushed around the entire game?
It's a 4-2-5 defense. You can't get a whole lot bigger because the style of defense we run now, unfortunately.
Gave up 21 points, 124-21, man. That defense will win games.
Like Jonathan said, were we perfect? No, but we are perfect at the times we needed to be. And it wouldn't be an Alabama live stream without Don Parker, $20. Nice win, but still a lot of work to do. We can't slack because next week will be a game. Couldn't agree more, Don. And we will be there.
Well, and look, man, great example. Look at Indiana last week, beats the shit out of Illinois 66-10. They barely beat Iowa 15-10. Illinois beats
USC
today at home. Don, this is where you're absolutely right. You celebrate this one tonight. You wake up in the morning, you smile, look in the mirror, and then you turn the damn page. Because Vanderbilt, let's be real, they're not just a cute story. They can play, and I like that though. That means this Bama team's going to be ready. The fact that they lost last year, but no, you're right. It's time to get back to work. There's a lot to do.
All right, we got James Henry. How far do you think we'll rise in the poll because 4 top 10 teams went down? So we're at 17 right now. Is that right?
Yeah, we're 17.
I would say 9 or 10 at worst, 12. What do you think? What do you think, guys?
Go ahead, Pettey.
We were 17 now. I don't know if they jumped from a 9. What was Georgia? 5, 6?
4. Weren't they?
Ellis.
Yeah.
5. I think.
They were top 5.
Yeah, I could say I'm 10 or 11.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I think around 10 or we won't jump too high because unfortunately, what nobody's talking about is Florida State lost to Virginia. So that doesn't help our case, right? So in this instance, it kind of actually, it doesn't hurt us per se, but it definitely doesn't help. So yeah, no, I think around 10 or 11.
Thank you, James. We greatly appreciate that. All right, let's move on to our last topic as we approach the end of our show. Final thoughts, guys. I'll let you start out, Jonathan, then we'll go to Pettey, and then I'll finish things up.
My final thoughts are thank goodness for Ryan Grubb. I think we should have a GoFundMe or whatever we need to do to give this man an extension right away and a bigger raise or whatever that would take. So glad that Jam Miller gets his time back. So glad that Tim Keenan got his time back on the field. Those are always great stories to see when these guys have not really played at all this year. Then they get to come in and they play for us to beat Georgia in Georgia, for God's sake. So like, it just made it that more special to me, in my opinion. And I think this was the game to where we can officially, as Alabama fans, plant our flag in the ground and say, Ty Simpson is who we thought he was. He is the 5-star quarterback that played at Martin, Tennessee, right? The dual threat QB that can be great at decision making and everything else. And I think that's just the end of it. And we are who we are. We're not a great running team, plain and simple. We can throw the ball. So let's live with that. You know what I mean? We don't have the big 350-pound nose tackle on defense anymore. So let's run the 4-2-5 and live with that, because clearly it gets you top 5 wins.
Absolutely. Pettey, what you got?
I'm going to go big picture. Let's look at the big – after losing to Florida State, the margin for error in your season to get to the playoffs shrunk to nothing. That meant you had to go steal one, because after losing that, it looked like there's a couple losses on that schedule, right? So Athens was absolutely one that I think after losing to Florida State, people are like, well, crap, we lose that one, then you can't lose the rest of the season. There's no margin for error. You stole one tonight, guys. Alabama went up to Athens and stole one in the grand scheme of the playoffs. That loss to Florida State, while still stings, got erased with this one, because now what looked like you've got margin for error now, because in a gauntlet of a freaking season, because Vanderbilt's going to be tough, but then you go on the road to Missouri, then you got the third Saturday coming, then you go to South Carolina, who's wonky, but then you got LSU coming. Again, this was huge tonight for the I'm sorry, I know people want one game at a time. I'm not a player. I'm not a coach. I don't give a shit about all that. I look at big picture stuff. I like looking at to see, well, what does this do for us? Well, we stole a big one tonight, guys, and that's what I see. We stole one that gives us a very, very good chance to hop right back into the legit playoff picture, which I'll be honest, thought was gone after Florida State.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, a huge win tonight. I saw our team grow up right before our eyes, and I'm very impressed with the fact that we answered the question, what is Alabama going to do when they get hit in the mouth? Well, the resounding answer was we hit back, and we hit back again, and we stood our ground, even though things got tough, and Alabama came through in the end. So my question is now, do we come with that same intensity next week against Vanderbilt? Do we come with that same discipline, not to look past them, not to celebrate all week and forget, hey, Diego Pavia has been talking crap all off season. We need to actually defend ourselves this time. Let's not have a repeat of Thomas Castellanos, because essentially Vanderbilt is the second coming of what we saw against Florida State. What are we going to do to erase that? What are we going to do to erase what happened last year? And what are we essentially going to do from this point forward, week after week, to remind people Alabama is back and we're a legit playoff contender?
16 penalty yards. I mean, wow. I'm going to leave it at that. That's it.
Tell you what, man. I did it. I counted out. After Florida State, tonight is just one of those nights, though, that I look and I'm like, man, Alabama's just different. God bless, man. Alabama's just different. They are absolute. When we say we're built different at the capstone, point it tonight, and that's our example as to why we're built different. It's just what Alabama does, man.
Yep.
It's in this university, this football program is just so different and special. And again, I know people don't want to hear it, but that's coming from the double agent side of me. Some nights I'm able, because of my double agent side, to step back and really appreciate what Alabama is. And it's just, I mean, it's nights like tonight, man. This is Alabama football.
Damon Bama Boy Davis, would y'all take Mario Cristobal as head coach? He was here. I'm not thinking about firing a coach at this point.
I don't even know how to answer that. I think Cristobal is doing a hell of a job down in Miami this season. For sure. I'll leave it at that.
But then again, he did actually go to the supermarket of NIL transfer portal and just start plucking out who he needed to assemble a dream team. So how much of it,
anybody can do that. So
anybody can do that.
Don't act like he. You know
hey,
what I mean?
I'm making a point.
He's in an Edward Ryan phase right now. He's living off a lot of talent and coaching around him. That dude's a moron. None.
I think outside of the NIL and transfer portal time period, he was mid at best. That's just my way of thinking. All right, as we begin to round things up, I want you to go around the room, folks. I want you to tell everybody in the audience right now how they can find you outside of this glorious network. Start us out, Jonathan, then we'll go to Pettey.
Well, you can find me at my address at
Whoa. Meet me at the hotel.
On X at JLewis85. Obviously here on the Bama Standard talking recruiting and stuff like that. But I'm also on a lot of other shows. Obviously Sharpshooter Sports Talk with Brentski, Coach Carlos, guys, Coach Sean, JMHO. Just my humble opinion, that's another one to check out. Those guys are great as far as that goes. And yeah, just so many others. And I want to thank everybody in the comment section for getting in here and doing what you do, leaving those comments, because at the end of the day, without the comments, without the audience interaction, we don't do this. So thank everybody in here. And then obviously appreciate getting on here and talking football with you guys.
Absolutely.
I'm Daniel Pettey at Pettey_Daniel on the X machine. You can find me here on Tuesday nights, 6 Central, 7 Eastern at the Bama Standard. You can find me Friday night back in the motherland, at the mothership, T-Town, at the Bryant Museum, talking about this big Vanderbilt football game. And that's it. Other than that, you can probably find me at the Lee County massage parlors wanting to make fun of Hugh Freeze for the next few days because, boy, he's crying now. No, he is going to need some relief. So.
I got to bring this up. Bevo's bodyguard. Bama can't be over FSU, though. Honestly, we don't need to be. We need to carry that cross to the rest of the season and remember the sting of that defeat. When we start to feel ourselves and start sniffing our own farts, this is where, we need to carry that like it's a badge of freaking honor.
That's right. You're right, Keith. Double O Pettey tonight had a good one. Them Rebels beat them damn corn dogs, and that Tide beat that Georgia ass. It was a damn good night.
Hey, Pettey, let me ask you this. I know we're talking about Ty Simpson being in the Heisman Trophy race.
Where's Trinidad Chambliss?
I was about to say, what about Trinidad Chambliss?
At some point, you got to give the Ferris State phenom love, right? This kid, I'll be honest, that was the one where I was like, okay, man, you do it against Arkansas, whose defense is so dumb. Go watch them. They're special.
Yeah, we saw it Notre Dame.
It's horrid. I mean, Memphis blew them up the next week. And then you play Tulane, which I think Tulane's one of those good smaller schools, but their defense is really, really bad. John Summerall's a great coach. So I was like, all right, Trinidad, it's easy to look like an all-star when you got all-star players around you, a great offensive mind, and shitty defenses. LSU's going to present a different challenge. And then, the first two drives, Ole Miss goes 3 and out, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected. I'm not sure Trinidad can move it. Oh, boy. Lane Kiffin's a gosh damn genius, guys. That dude, he is Lane Kiffin's good at this football thing. He's good at the X's and O's. But, man, again, it was Trinidad's a great story. And I do think he's good. He's fun to watch. But I'm giving all my love to Ty tonight. I think Ty Simpson's special, man. I think he is I think he's the best. I think he's the best quarterback in the SEC right now. And I'm excited to see where all this trepidation was going into this Georgia game is now turned to excitement. Now I'm excited to see where this Tide team goes. Not, holy shit, where are we going?
And with that, we're going to close up shop. Thank you again to everyone who showed up tonight and celebrated with us. Exciting times. Alabama defeats Georgia 24-21 between the hedges in Athens. Can't get any better than that. Oh, yeah, it can. Get into the SEC championship and get into the playoffs. That is the goal. But one game at a time. Next week, it's Vandy. Thank you for the super chats as well. We don't ever request those. You do it out of the kindness of your heart, and we definitely appreciate you. We'll see you next Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central, for the Bama Standard. And also, if you're in T-Town, show up at the Paul W. Bryant Museum for the live show of Bama Standard previewing the Vanderbilt game. And you also get an opportunity to hang out with Jesse Williams. You don't want to miss that. And it's free. So what we need from you, pack it out.
Well, what day and time is it?
Next Friday night, 6 p.m. Central.
There we go.
Unless you don't like me and you want to hurt me, don't show up.
There's the title towel.
Yes, and the first 10 people will gain access to Jonathan's OnlyFans for 30 minutes for free.
Oh, you want access to that?
No way.
Roll Tide, everyone.
Roll Tide.
Roll damn